Hey, what's going on? So this Warlock Stormcaller build is pretty fun and crazy to use in all types of activities, from your casual strike to your Legend and Master Lost sectors. You're going to have a super that lasts pretty much forever with fast ability cooldowns whilst generating a lot of super energy, making you a true Stormcaller god. So perhaps you've been wanting to make use of the Stormcaller subclass, but wasn't sure how to go about it to make it pretty effective in the endgame. Well, don't worry, we're going to go through that setup to make this effective in most activity types and difficulties, and you won't even need to use champion mods if you don't want to. I will give you my recommendations and optimized setups, so as usual guys, leave a rating to show your support and stay tuned. Kicking things off as usual, if you like what you see, there's more in a mega playlist down below. Mega? I don't even know why I said that. Anyway, just go check it out. So this build is designed in a way that will help you get infinite arc grenades quickly to then use to chain damage whilst generating a lot of super energy fast, in which you'll then use for effective ad clearing in the activity you're playing. And the majority of the time you can use your abilities more than you use your weapons if you use this build correctly. But in lighter activities it will be more effective because if you take this into a Grandmaster Nightfall, your grenades may not kill enemies because of tough red bars, so I'd probably limit this build to master activities at the highest. Legend preferably. There are a few ways you can use and manipulate this build to be effective as well, but the best place to use this build is in activities with arc burn modifiers, so things like a Legend or Master Lost sector, or any place where there are a ton of adds to chain abilities, so things like the Wardcliff raid. But taking a look at our loadout setup, there's nothing really required, although using a weapon that can generate some kind of energy will make this build more effective. So use weapons that have a Wellspring perk, a bad juju, Traveler's Chosen, and those sort of things. Although for me personally, I would just stick to what you play best with, that suits the activity's requirements. For our subclass we are using a top tree Stormcaller, Attunement of Conduction, which comes with a Chain Lightning melee ability which can be pretty effective in some areas, but with this we have Transcendence, where if you cast the super with full grenade and melee energy, it will last longer and restore lost health. Perfect if you are about to die and then cast that Stormcaller. But the last perk to note here is Arc Web, where enemies damaged by your grenade chain deadly lightning to nearby enemies, and each grenade and melee chain returns grenade energy. We'll be using an Arc Bolt grenade with this just to make our chaining slightly better, but you can and should use a pulse grenade if you are going into those champion activities, as it will be more effective in most cases. Our exotic we're using is the Crown of Tempests, and the exotic trait with this lets your arc ability kills increase the recharge rate of your arc abilities and extends the duration of Storm Trance. And no joke, you can pretty much make this super last a stupidly long time, and if you can play this build good, you will be able to use your super more than half of the actual activity's duration, which is great for ad clearing, but we are a full ability build for chaining arc damage too, so it's a good little mix, and you really only want to use your super when you really need to. For those helmet mods, we use an elemental ordnance to generate arc wells when getting grenade kills, which you'll generate a ton of with this build, and then ashes to assets twice to get that fast super energy on grenade kills. For the gauntlets we have firepower to regain a portion of our grenade when using it, and this will consume 1 stack of charger light, which is fine, but if you are in easier activities with more adds, then you can swap this out for something else of your choice. Next though we have Impulse Recycler to get grenade energy on grenade final blows and our champion mods that you may need. If you don't need one, throw on another Impulse Recycler. You will have enough points if you don't use a stat mod. Now you could also use an Ariana's Vow as your anti-barrier weapon, so if you use this, you won't need any champion weapon mods slotted into the gauntlets. Just thought this was a good idea to point out, as it is a pretty effective weapon. Now for the chest we have Energy Converter to generate super energy when using our grenade, so you'll use 1 stack for generating grenade energy, and then the other 3 to 4 stacks to get super energy. With this mod we have double ammo reserve mods for our heavy weapon, because you need some form of boss DPS, as so far this build is an ad clearing beast. But for your legs we have supercharged for an extra 2 stacks of charger light, bringing a total to 4 stacks. Again, you can use a charged up for the last stack if you want, but you will need to replace your firepower mod we had slotted on earlier with this. But then with this mod we also have our ammo scavenger mod for a heavy weapon, which isn't really required. Lastly though, for the class we are using elemental charge to become charger light when picking up those arc elemental wells, which will make us charger light twice. If you want, you can actually replace the elemental ordnance with an overload well maker, as you'll then get 4 stacks of charger light in a single finisher kill. Although for us being a grenade build, I thought it was more effective the way we currently have this set up, as I've shown, but just giving out some alternative ideas. But with the elemental charge we are using surge detonators to stun overload champions with our arc grenades. Be careful not to miss, because if you do, you will screw yourself over and you'll have to wait for your next grenade to recharge. If there are no overload champions, use bomber and then distribution for some sweet ability regen. And don't forget to max out your discipline, in case you're like me that always uses that grenade on one ad and not a group, and therefore having to wait for the next one to come back. When you're using this build, make sure that after each grenade kill you will be picking up those elemental wells, because if you don't, you won't become Judge of Light, and then you'll lose out on that juicy ability energy, which means you're going to get less grenade and super energy back, and you won't be able to use this build effectively. But with the exotic and subclass perks, as long as you chain those abilities on a group of ads, 9 times out of 10 you'll get at least 80% of the energy back, if not the full grenade. But the idea of this build is to get those abilities as quick as possible, whilst also trying to get that super fast and use it for a long time. But guys, that is all for this Warlock Arc build. Next you should go check out the playlist for more awesome builds I do every week. If you like this one, why not drop a like? If you didn't, click the thumbs down twice just to be sure you hit it. But for now, give this one a try. Let me know what you think. Subscribe and share so the algo loves me, and I'll see you all soon for the next one.